G'day, it's Damned here with another installment in the Fantasy Grounds Ruleset Wizard, and we're continuing on with our Cyberpunk RED ruleset creation. So we're going to create our weapons slash attack table just now, and it's a fairly big table, I imagine. I've been looking at it for a little bit, and we've got a whole table here where we've got the skill and the damage, the magazine size, or how many rounds are in the weapon, the rate of fire, the hands required. I think that's all information that's required to be on the character sheet. Plus, we've got all this range information. And of course, there's lots of different ways to implement things like this, and everyone's going to have their own ways of doing it, and there are ways that have more smarts about them and ways that have less. I'm going for a sort of where I think is a manageable compromise, but it's going to create a fairly big list of stats, attributes, or whatever across this weapons list. But I've got an idea in my mind, and we're going to give that a go. It might be the right way, it might not be, but either way we're going to learn a little bit more about the Ruleset Wizard as we go. So our character sheet currently looks like this. We've got our top section here where we've just got a little bit of information, generic information about our character, and then we've got our stats, we've got our current health with room for injuries and addictions, and we've got our head, body, and if you're carrying any, a shield, so our armor equipment there. So underneath this we're going to put in a weapons list here, and as I said, it's going to be quite a wide list, so we're going to see how that works out. So jumping back into our Ruleset Wizard, we're going to start with the list. We're going to do it the same way we did the armor detail list. So we're going to first create the list here, which is a window, and then we're going to add the elements into it afterwards, and then we're going to incorporate the list into the character sheet. So let's start by creating a new window. So we start here with add new window, and our window is going to be called weapon detail. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to copy in a whole bunch of fields here, and I'm not going to record the whole thing because it's going to make this video quite long, but I'll stop in and I'll show the progress as we go along. Okay, so this is absolutely the first draft. So we've got here a string field, got a few different values in here. What we might do is pull this up a bit bigger, see if this lasts. So we've got our padding left and right, we've got a field dark, height 24, width 50. We've given a weapon name, and the tab next is weapon skill. And next one, we've got a combo box, so it's a drop down, and field dark, padding, similar. We've got our tab target and our previous target, but we've also got a field up here called items. Click on this, and we've added handguns, shoulder arms, archery, and heavy weapons. And we've still got a label, which is the text that will be displayed to the GUI, and we've got the value which will be stored in the DB, and that's the value that we'll use in any code that references these. Next we've got a dice drop field, and I don't think this is going to last. I think it's going to be replaced with just a number field because it's going to be easier to code, I'm pretty sure. Weapon damage is the field. We've got a tab previous and next. Then we've got two fields here, one for ammo, and so each of these, I'm not sure how we're going to do this, but I think what we're going to do is record the difference between so how many bullets are left in the current magazine. So each weapon will have a magazine size, so whether it's 8 or 12 or 20 or whatever it is. So this will have the number of rounds left in the magazine. Then we've got rate of fire. So some guns are 1, some guns are 2, etc. Then I've missed a field here, it looks like. So the next one should have been hands. So I'm going to add that one back in separately. But what we've got here next is actually the different ranges. So this is 0 to 6, 7 to 12, 13 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 200, 201 to 400, and 401 to 800. And then we've got a link to open up more details on this. Again, as mentioned in the previous video, this isn't currently working in the rule set at the current state. Anyway, that's pretty close to what we want for that. We're going to jump into the character sheet now, and we're going to duplicate something very similar to this. Okay, wow, that worked pretty well. So we have our weapons frame here, and we've got pistol, which is a handgun. It's 2d6, which I've dragged in here from here. I might change this mechanic just to a simple number. Magazine size is 12, and I've actually left a column out here. We've got either rate of fire or hands, like one-handed or two-handed, and then we've got the different ranges. Now, something that hasn't worked so well here is my drop-downs. The display here shows the plain text version, it's archery or a handgun or heavy weapon or a shoulder arm, but the value here shown on the sheet is actually the DB value, and I need to work on that, what I'm going to do there. And it may be using a hidden field, it may be that I change the list value items just to store it as the plain text version. We'll work through that. It's really a coding question. Over here, so I need to firstly add another column in here, and I can do that by making this stuff here just a tiny little bit smaller, or making this column smaller here and just using the dice, using a 2 instead of a 2d6. As far as I can tell, all damage dice are just multiples of d6. There's no 2d6 plus 2 or 4d6 minus 2, anything like that. It's just x d6. So we could just put the x value in here, 2d6, 3d6, 4d6, whatever the number that is, and that would halve that column size. Also makes writing the code, the dice mechanics, a whole lot easier. And here, just to try and break it up, I alternated. I had 2 black and 2 grey, but the grey ones just look like they're like inactive options or disabled options, and that's obviously not what I'm after. So let's go back and quickly change those up. So the first thing we can do is, I might actually create a blue element here for these. So I'm going to quickly create that element in GIMP. So I've got it in GIMP. I need to create the frame over here. We'll create a quick frame. The name is box blue. The offset 8844. What did I do there? Sorry. Box blue. 8,8,4,4. The image. Box blue. Okay, save that. We will head back now to weapon detail, and change 2 of these frames here over to box. Okay, so box blue won't show up in that until I close this window and reopen it. So let's just try that and see if that works. So we'll quickly just save this, open weapon detail, and we'll close weapon detail and open weapon detail. And let's see if we now get box blue in the list. Box blue, there you go, just not sorted fully. And here. Okay, the next thing we want to do was change this. We don't want to use the dice field anymore. I do need to remember what these are. Weapon damage is the name, and I want weapon ammo and weapon skill. So let's get rid of that box. And we'll also just check where it starts. 5115. Get rid of that. Let's put in a and we can just duplicate these. Okay, so we haven't quite got enough room there, and we're going to have to shuffle up and make a little bit more room. When we look at this, pistols, SMG, they all need the same amount of room. We're probably going to take some more room all the way over at this end, so we'll have to shuffle everything over. Okay, so we have here, this should be weapon damage. The previous one should be weapon type, I think. I think that's right. Now we want to change the damage field here to, let's make it a fill dark, let's make it fill black. Let's change the font to white. And let's change it to a rollable field, but this is going to need the new dice mechanics. So for the moment I'm just going to put in here 2d6, but it's not correct. Let's save that with this. Okay, database type mismatch, yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to delete those two weapons, recreate them, because I messed that up. Fair enough. So let's create a new one here. Pistol. It's a handgun. Damage die will be 2. Mags 12. Rate of fire is 2. Hands is 1. Okay, and we'll create the SMG. Now I can see here there's something not quite right with my tab order. So we're going to have to just quickly address that as well. Magazine 30. Alright, yeah, definitely my tab order is jumping way up the top here. My roll is at red. Okay, so we've got 15, 13, 15, 20, 25, 25, 30, no skill. Okay, and then we can nuke these two. That will get rid of our error message. Okay, let's reload that one more time. Bang, they work. We can roll some damage here. Now, it doesn't give us any information here about the roll. We will add that in afterwards, but this is looking a lot better. What we also need to do now is put some headings at the top here. So my website of choice for getting icons is the Noun Project. I have a subscription to the Noun Project, so I do not need to credit the author, the artist or the site when I use their images, but you can just if you click here, there is a free license, and so no need to attribute Noun Pro, but if you don't have a subscription, you can still download this, but you must give credit for each image in your product, which is very fair. So I might just use this very simple icon here. I'm going to download this. I need another one for... Okay, so we have, if we go with the circle, it kind of helps constrain things. We have to do the same on all of them, and that's fine. I think we might actually do that. So we're going to go firstly image, crop to content, image, scale image, and our icons, our space here is actually just 25 pixels. That's pretty small. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's just back that out. What we might just try and do, make it a little bit more obvious. We want to fill this with really contrasting color. I'm going to go with white rather than red for the blood because I'm going to reuse it for the others. Okay, image, scale image. Let's see what this looks like. 25. File, export as recent. Damage. Well, it's icon damage, I think. Head back here. Icons. 3 new icons. Icon ammo. Because then our icons should be available to us. Drop one icon in. Let's scale it to 25. 25. Let's give the icon damage. Let's get it right up here. 5. Okay, so I've skipped ahead again. Here I've imported all 4 icons. So we've got damage, ammo, rate of fire, and number of hands required. I've ended up rescaling those icons. I did it back in GIMP. I've gone back to the original big size, 900 pixels, scaled them back down to 20 pixels because 25 is actually a little bit too big, and they're perfectly visible at 20, or at least for me. So anyway, we've gone with 20 pixels. So I've got the 4 pixels there, 4 icons there. I've got all the various labels, and we're going to push this and see what it looks like. Alright, so that's pretty good. So we have our column for weapon for the associated skill. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to actually pull this back and just put the correct syntax, the human readable syntax in for both. And the reason why it does it this way, and it makes sense, and I don't want to go through all the hassle of the workaround for very little gain. Okay. So what we've got here, these ranges are 0 to 6, 7 to 12, 13 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 200, 201 to 400, and 401 to 800. Now, we just don't have room on the sheet to put that full to and from range. Anyone playing the system will get familiar with those ranges pretty quickly. My intention is to do the calculation based on this field for the attack. So if you're attacking, you determine the range. The range is 20 feet, so you will use this column here, 13 to 25, and you will double click this column, and it will take the various inputs in and roll those dice. Just waiting on some updates from psicodelix for the roll mechanics, and we're going to deal with that in the very next session. So this is a bit more of a complex list item, and I've gone backwards and forwards a bit. I didn't show it all in the video. The video would take an hour and lots of editing and everything else. So, and you don't want to watch me going backwards and forwards doing it. it's painful enough doing it yourself. So there's enough information in there for what I did. The couple of things to take note here, when I changed a couple of these fields, so I changed one of the fields from a dice holding field to a number field. So when I reloaded, it tried to load dice into a number field, which doesn't work. So I got an error there. So that's why I had deleted those pistol and SMG entries and recreated new ones and then they automatically picked up the correct database entries. So early stages, sometimes you'll get a few quirky issues when you're developing your character sheets in particular, and you're getting errors, you can't quite work them out. Try creating a new character, and if the errors go away, it's because some of your database formats changed during the previous development cycle and the data doesn't match anymore. I've had it happen to me lots of times on lots of different rule sets, and catches me out regularly for a while. So just, it's a handy tip. Try creating a new toon and seeing if those errors persist. In this case, it was creating new weapon entries. You see the trick there where we've just used icons to replicate to represent the different column headings, because we just don't have enough room on there to write even DMG and ROF, for each of those. And then there's no good abbreviation. Ammo is 4, the M's are long, so using the icons can be a good idea. I'm thinking that those ranges, I'm going to change them, instead of 0, I'm going to change them to the upper end, so it'll be 6, it'll be 12, it'll be 25, and that way you choose the number that is the next range number that's bigger than your current range. So I'm at 20, I will choose the 25 range because that incorporates where I'm at. So I'm going to change those headings, and hopefully in the next main video we'll look at the dice rolling mechanics for this character sheet. Thank you once again for joining me on this journey.